Let me get my hair. Yeah. Look. Ah, my hair. Hi. Well, first off, happy Beltane. It's the 1st of May. And in a certain fictional realm, witches have already flown a mile or more into the sky. And one of my favorite witches is coming up on his 18th birthday. Is it her 18th birthday? I'm not real sure. Okay, yeah. So, you're probably asking yourself right now, Cassidy, where in the ever-living fuck have you been? Yeah, I went dark late Monday night. Actually, I went dark when I left the house here about why was it? About 7:45 or so to go to derby practice. And now here it is. It's 4:04 in the afternoon on May 1. And the last time anyone heard anything from me was April 23rd. Where have I been? Well, that is a long and complicated story. And it actually, I'm going to tilt this a little bit. Yeah. It, believe it or not, actually starts with a suspension. Yes. I arrived at derby practice last Monday night and was informed that because of some things I had done, I was going to be suspended for 30 days because it was the second time I'd been written up in a year for actions that went against the code of conduct for my league. I'm not going to go into them. I'm not going to discuss it. Needless to say, I went along with it. I said, okay, I'm not fighting it. And I'm suspended for 30 days. I don't get to do derby until the end of May. But I was needlessly to say upset. And I was vacillating towards periods of like bawling my eyes out and then just getting real calm and cold. And I had fully reached a point where I just said, okay, when can I come back? And they gave me a date and I said, fine. And as I was getting ready to get up from the table, one of my teammates, there were two teammates and one of my coaches was in the room with me. She grabbed my hand and she said, are you going to go home and kill yourself? And I said, I can't answer that question because quite honestly, I didn't know the answer. So my two teammates spent time telling me that, I needed to check myself into a facility. I needed to get help. Everyone knew that I was going through a rough time. Everyone knew that I've not been in the best place mentally. And if you follow my blog, and if you're watching this video, most of you do, or some of you do, I haven't been in a good mental spot in well over a year. And it has been affecting my writing. It has been affecting a lot of other things. So after a while, we talked, and I finally agreed that I would check myself in to be watched and to get treatment. So three of my teammates actually, two teammates and one who had started out being a derby girl and then went to becoming an NSO, a non-skating official. They brought me home so I could pick up a few things before they took me off. I'm laughing about it now, but at the time it was dead ass seriousness, and I was, crying and quiet and everything else. And I contacted Rachel Simbakis from the Snarking Dead to let her know that I'm not going to have any access to internet or phone or anything like that. And I explained to her what was going on, and she told me to get well and she'd take care of things. And And I left a message in the Hodge saying, someone take over the birthdays for a bit because I'm not going to have access to the internet. And that's all I said. I didn't really want to go into a long, drawn out, detailed explanation at that time because I had 3 people in my apartment who were ready to take me off to the hospital. And on reflection, I think this was something they had planned because they had everything, already all printed out and shit. So they, so it was like, we're going to get Cassidy in. I think there was no way I was getting out of that practice that night without checking into the hospital. I mean, seriously, I think they would have literally followed me home and, dragged me off or something like that. So they took me to Geisinger Holy Spirit over in Camp Hill. I have the band to prove it. See right there. And we went to the ER, and I said, I need to be checked in because I'm having suicidal ideation. And in time, I actually admitted to my teammates that it had been my plan, and, take it as it is, it had been my plan to kill myself on my birthday, which is May 3rd, 2 days from today. And man, several times I had to go over in detail what I had planned on doing. And it really hurts when you have to do that. So I was escorted into a quiet room. And by quiet room, I mean, basically in the ER, they had 2, what we used to call padded cells. The floor was kind of rubbery. The walls were set up. They weren't quite as rubberized, but you couldn't really hurt yourself on them. The bed was really nothing more than a raised platform with a mattress on it, and there were metal U-boat restraints that could be used to restrain you in case you got too violent. And the only other thing I had in the room with me was a TV that was actually behind plexiglass so that I couldn't, break it and use it to hurt myself. And there were 2 rooms. One was occupied, and I had the other. And the entire time I was there in the ER, I was being watched by security. So I didn't get a lot of sleep. I think I got maybe 30 minutes worth of sleep that night. And at 5:30 Tuesday morning, they wheeled me up to what is referred to, not what we refer to, but what is referred to as a behavioral therapy unit, or as we would call it, the unit. The reality is I was in a mental hospital. You're locked in. You have no access to phones. You have no access to computers. You have no access to anything. I had a room to myself, which was good. And that was it, I spent Tuesday through today, 8 days total, at the unit where I was given medication, which is good. I began to see a therapist. I began to see a counselor. We began setting up a plan for what I was going to do when I got out. We're in the process of getting me some financial aid to be able to help me to afford scripts and counseling and therapy and all this other stuff. It currently looks as if, based on what I want, we're going to try to start for like some partial in-house treatment here and there, and maybe see a therapist or a counselor once a week. But it did help considerably. I was really in a deep, dark hole, and the thoughts of suicide were real. I mean, I'm not kidding myself. I have been in a suicidal place for a long time. And I know one of the things my teammates have been trying to stress to me is I need an outlet other than Derby. And, they're worried that being suspended for a month is going to hurt me. It is. But I'll get through it. I will say, however, that even though the last 5 months have, well, the last 4 months of derby practice have led to part of the reason why I was growing suicidal. At the same time, were it not for the fun I was having at derby practice, even when I was frustrated and crying and ready to, pull my hair out, which isn't hard to do, but it really did keep me going. I can point to a couple of times when I went to practice and I was pretty much suicidal. I mean, I was just like, I don't even know why I'm going to practice. This is ridiculous. I don't even want to live anymore. And just getting out there and doing physical activity for a couple hours, I'd be in a much better place. I wouldn't say, all the ideation was gone, but I didn't feel like doing it at that time. And it did help. It did save me. I probably would have been gone a lot sooner. But at the same time, like I said, the last 4 months with everything else that was happening had put a considerable strain on me in my goal to certify. And I spoke with one of the board of director members. They said the coaching staff is going to set up something for me when I come back. I said, I want to speak with the coaching staff so we can get some things straight as far as, my goals for certification, because I still do want to play this year. And God damn it, I'm going to. One way or the other. With or without you. No, I really don't want to do that. But that's a story for another time. Needless to say, I'm back home. I've actually been back home a couple of hours now, but I had to run and get meds. I'm on an antidepressant, which also helps me sleep. So it's a medication I have to take at night. I'm on another drug that will help with anxiety and it will also help me sleep. Both of them also will help make me thirsty, so make me drink more water, although it didn't when I was in the unit. And that was the thing. You actually had to think about going and drinking water. And, well, I have my water now. Yeah. And I also, while I was at Target getting my meds, I picked up some junk food. And if you don't have junk food available, whatever you want it, having it like I got it now, it just feels so incredibly great. As one of my teammates said Tuesday night when they came to visit, Monday night when they came to visit, they said, this is like being in jail. And yeah, it is. It really is. You are on a definite schedule. You eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at a specific time. You have visitors at a specific time. In our case, we had visitors from 12 to 1 and from 6 to 7, and you were only allowed 2 visitors at a time, no more. You go to groups at specific times. If you were what they called level 3, which means they didn't feel that you were a harm to yourself, you got to go downstairs to the activity room, which had a pool table and ping pong, and there were puzzles. But the thing that was really nice is they had a fenced-in area where you could go outside. And every chance I got, even if it was only for 10 minutes outside, that was the only opportunity I got to be in fresh air in a 24-hour period. The longest I got to spend outside was about 20 minutes. And trust me, man, did I value that time. And, all of this I'm going to talk about later. I'm going to write probably 1 or 2 posts in the blog about what happened. This is just a chance to get you caught up and let you know where I've been, because I'm sure a lot of people were beginning to wonder, did she just die? And, well, almost. Really, it was close. But I'm feeling much better. I'm in a much better place right now. The medication seems to be doing its trick. Of course, they say it takes 4 to 6 weeks to know. And the litmus test is going to be seeing how I handle the next couple of weeks. So my goal right now is to actually set up an agenda for things to do during the day, so that I'm not completely sitting around being a bum and falling back into old habits. I want to get out more. I want to do things. I want to move around and exercise. Hey, just because I'm not doing derby for a month doesn't mean I can't go out skating. So that's it. I do have to go back in for a follow-up with hematology, because my white blood cell count has been elevated the entire time I was there. And they don't know what it is because I'm not sick. They can't find any indications of infection. So I have to go back in June and have a follow-up for blood work. And one of the more interesting things that happened to me the first night when I was in the ER, when I was in the quiet room, I was quiet. That's what we called it. I was in a facility back in 2008, and they had a same kind of room called the quiet room. That's what everybody called it. You go to the quiet room. That's where you got quiet, one way or the other, usually while restrained. And somebody got sent to the quiet room right before I showed up on the floor in the unit. But anyway, yeah, in our quiet room, you had to actually go looking for it. It wasn't like you could find it readily. You had to actually go looking around for it, and it was I think they had it behind closed doors, so that Whereas when I was in Indiana, it was right there. You could actually look in the damn thing. But anyway, when I was in the ER and they decided to do a chest x-ray on me, I don't know why. Maybe just to see if I've got tuberculosis or some damn thing. I don't know. But they did a chest x-ray on me at like 11 or 11:30 at night. And when the tech came out, he had this look on his face, and I instantly recognized it as, oh shit, they saw something on the x-ray. And he asked, have you ever been a smoker? And I said, no, I don't. I've never smoked, so I don't have to worry about that. So they wheeled me back to the room, and the security guard, one of the unnerving things is there's a security guard with you all the time. They're outside your door. When they wheel you someplace, you're with them. When they go to the bathroom, they follow you. So 2 a.m, they give me a CAT scan, and went through it. And the tech, as I'm, getting up, she goes, have you ever been treated for cancer? I was like, no, I haven't been treated for cancer. So at this point, I know they're seeing a spot on one of my lungs. They're seeing a spot on a lung someplace. And, instantly my mind is going to the Breaking Bad episode 4 Days Out, where Heisenberg, Walter White, has the CAT scan, and he sees the image, he sees a spot on his lung where he's had cancer. And he's thinking, oh shit, my cancer's back. So he goes on this massive 4-day meth cook, and he produces like 40 pounds of meth, which I'm not going to do. Don't worry. Because just like Heisenberg, it turned out not to be a bad thing. It turned out to be a funny thing. So when I met with my psychiatrist that Monday morning, she was looking at my medical chart, and she says, yeah, I see they found, they had to do a x-ray, and they found a spot, and they did a CAT scan. And after analyzing the CAT scan, what they determined was the spot that they were seeing was the remnant of 2 broken ribs that had healed. So they were seeing like the fused area where the broken ribs had healed up. And I went, was it on my left side? And the psychiatrist goes, yeah, why? I said, I know exactly how that happened, where it happened, and who actually broke my ribs. And where it happened was at derby practice. How it happened, we were doing a jammer blocker drill where the jammer is trying to get away from the blocker and the blocker is trying to knock the jammer out of bounds. And who did it was a 6'4" half Chinese dude who weighs 245 pounds, who we call Dapper Asian, who comes up on Wednesday nights and practices with us. And that night, both he and his wife came up, and she actually delivered a harder hit to me than he did, but she like backed into me with her butt and hit me in the hip. And I didn't go down, but boy, it hurt. But I remember when he hit me, I went off the track and I was going, ow, my ribs. Oh God, they hurt. My ribs hurt. And fortunately, I never did any more scrimmaging after that point because it was right before they got into the mandatory drills for the bouts. And because we had 2 bouts real close together, I didn't get involved in a lot of scrimmaging from that point on. Then we had all of November off. And then we had almost half of November off. And then we had most of December, we didn't do anything. So that's how I was able to get broken ribs and have them heal up. And so there you go. I have 2 broken ribs from Derby. I can joke about that now. And I was joking about it. And it got passed along to the team that, they got worried. They thought I had cancer or something. And it just turned out to be a couple of broken ribs, which I got playing Derby. So there's my badge of honor. Broken bones. They do exist. So like I said, I'm back. I'm going to probably write a little bit about my time on the ward. I will get that information out. I will not keep it secret. I'm sure some of you are kind of curious of what it's like to be on a ward. Trust me, you do not want to be there. You need that help, and it's necessary. But after a while, you don't want to be there. Especially when you have to reiterate over and over like your plans for killing yourself. That in its own sense is real hard to do, especially when you're starting to get clearer and you're realizing, oh my God, I have to actually tell another person what I was planning on doing. It sucks. It really does. You don't want to do it. So yeah, I'm better. I'm back. And actually, today is the first day of Mermaid, which means I need to start on my mermaid story. Yes, I'm going to write a mermaid story, and I'm going to get back into writing. Like I said, I'm going to set times for stuff. And even if I only write like 300 words in 90 minutes, it's a schedule. It's something I can stick to, and it's something I need to do. I need to get back into my writing. I need to get back into what I was doing before. And not making it feel like it was a chore. Really, I can't. I shouldn't, and I won't. So I'm back. I'm better. You're going to hear from me again in the future. And, it's just one day at a time right now. That's it. I will keep you apprised of what is going on in my life. Trust me, I'm going to be here for a while. Take care. Bye.